Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making tie blankets. These have kind of become a staple gift that I give to people usually around Christmas time. I feel like in December I make like 10 of these. And a lot of the feedback that I get is that they seem really hard to make or really difficult, but they're actually not. So I'm going to walk you through the process of how to make these today. All you're going to need is a pair of scissors and 2 different pieces of fabric. You want to make sure that they're fleece, and you have to make sure that they're the same size. So the size that I'm working with today is 2 yards. I lead a pretty boring lifestyle, so I typically do 1 solid and 1 pattern. If you are more eccentric, you can do whatever you want and do 2 different patterns, but generally I do 1 plain, 1 pattern, and just make sure that the colors complement each other. So the first step is to lay the first piece of fabric down on the ground and just try to get it as flat as possible, even out any ripples, and just get it as flat as you can. Next, you're going to lay the second piece of fabric on top of it and just try to line up the edges as much as you can. It's not going to be perfect. I've made probably dozens of these and they've never lined up perfectly. So just try to line up as much as you can, and then we can fix if there's any excess fabric on one of them later. So as you can see, the green fabric is a lot bigger on this side, so I'm just going to trim that off and just make them as even as possible. You can just throw that strip of fabric away, or if you want to save it for something, live your life, man. This is what it should look like. Try to even out as many little lumps as you can. But once you are happy with it, cut out a square from the corner. I lucked out with this fabric and it already has lines that I can go off of, but I would say you probably want to cut about 3 inches off of each side. So you basically just cut out a little square from the corner. So I like to cut each corner of a side before I start making cuts. So I did both sides of that, and then I just started cutting strips. So they're probably about 1 inch in width and probably 3 inches in length. They don't have to be perfect, so definitely don't obsess over that. Just kind of try to make them as even as you can. This is probably one of the parts that is the most time consuming. This is where your knees and back can start getting achy, but take a break, grab a snack, whatever you gotta do. When I got to this corner, I noticed that the fabric was uneven, so I just kind of cut that little strip. And then, like I said, I like to have both corners done before I start working on a side. So I just cut that piece off and start working on the side. Here I noticed that the white fabric was a lot longer in that place, so I just cut that off. One of the things that I love about this is that it's really forgiving, so you can mess up in a lot of different ways, and it's really not detrimental to the overall finished product. So just trim it, and then I went through and cut some more strips on that side. This is what it should look like with all of the sides cut. Just try to even it out as much as possible and just make sure that they are flat. To tie them, you're basically just going to do the first tie like when you're tying your shoes. And really the important part is that you pull the opposite fabrics. For example, my bottom fabric is the green one. So when I make a tie, I'm going to make sure that I pull the green one up and pull the white one down. And I'm going to do the same tie twice. The second one I usually pull a little bit tighter so that it doesn't move. But that's basically all you're going to do all around the blanket is just make sure you're pulling the green one up and the white one down. Something that you want to be really careful of with this is that you are tying the correct pieces with each other. One of the things that is really easy to mess up is to accidentally cross and tie. Like for example, it would be really easy to tie the white piece with the wrong green piece, and then you end up with these like awkward strips because you didn't tie them correctly. It's not the end of the world. If you do mess this up, you can just untie it and correct it, but that's probably one of the things that I messed up the most the first few times that I was making these. This is also where your knees get achy, and so does your back. So again, take a break, grab a snack, do whatever you gotta do. All right, so this is what it looks like when it's all done. This is why it doesn't really matter if the sides are perfect or if they're all, perfectly even or cut straight or whatever. You can't really tell once it's all done. Also, since it gets kind of bunched up, once you're done, you can kind of pull it apart. Some spots will make kind of like a cracking, tearing noise. I'm trying to find a spot that'll do it. There we go. Don't panic. If it does do that, that's totally normal. You're just kind of unscrunching it and stretching it out as much as possible. So there you go. Now you're a pro at making a tie blanket. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you can see my next cooking or crafting adventure. If you have any questions or you have any recommendations for what I should try next, feel free to drop a comment below.